Well, I could use a drink.
Oh, so could I.
Just checking.
Everything all right?
Yep, 2 corpses. Everything's fine. Anybody else want a whiskey?
Yeah.
Welcome to Musicians Movie Club. I'm Dan.
Your voice sounds low, so I'm going to say, I'm Tommy.
I don't know why it would be any different other than the...
For a sec, you thought you were doing a voice for a sec.
He's got a
No,
new
this is my regular
interface and a new energy.
Yeah.
So, welcome everyone to Musicians Movie Club. It's so nice that, see, isn't that better?
This is
That is better. You're right. I'm sorry I questioned you.
This is not a voice. This is my real life.
Yeah.
And speaking of real life, we've got 2 real life stars with us here today. Our friends from album Rebrews in the house.
That's so generous. Thank you.
Wow.
If you don't know my voice already, because I'm a star, my name is Sarah. I'm one of the hosts of Album Rebrews, the stickiest music podcast.
I might not be a star, but I'm pretty sure I'm real. I'm Zach. I also co-host the podcast.
You did a Rebrews thing.
God damn.
just now. I haven't started drinking yet, so I'm still on my feet.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. No, I was really excited to come on here because we prep a lot for our show. Like
a lot.
A lot. Like I take a lot of very detailed notes, and if you don't know, hey, I'm gonna fucking promote ourselves. We have people on, and they bring an album that they want to talk about, and they bring a drink pairing. It feels very much like a soul cousin to this podcast.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
So Zach and I really get into it. We listen a lot, but for this, I was like, I'm just going to talk about a movie that I love, and I'm not going to take any notes.
Nice.
And I'm just going to come and drink a cocktail and gush about Clue. That's going to be a beautiful Monday.
Yeah, it's a good Monday. Thank you guys for having us on.
Yeah.
Our pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I see it, we pretty much started this podcast as an excuse to hang out with our friends more than anything.
Yeah.
Aw.
I mean, and to just talk about movies, which we were already doing, but just anybody's got to do, generate content for the masses,
Make the big
you.
bucks.
Make the big bucks.
Yeah.
Thank you to
Market
our
that
sponsor
shit.
Tascam.
Hashtag
Your
ad.
time is money.
Yeah, so
Shout out MMC Nation. Love you guys.
clubbers.
Clubbers.
And yet I think we kind of subconsciously just lifted the drink pairing concept. I mean, because Tommy was making cocktails.
I was making cocktails anyway. I was going to do it regardless.
Yeah, it was going to
Yeah.
happen,
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you already said it. Today we're going to be talking about Clue.
Who done it?
Who done it?
And in what room? And with what weapon?
The answer to come.
There are multiple.
The answers might shock you.
Why did you pick Clue?
Okay. Zach and I knew for a minute. We've had Dan and Tommy on our show a couple times now before with their respective music projects, and then also with Musicians Movie Club. And we were like, well, I mean, we want to go on Musicians Movie Club.
Yeah.
And so we were even before we got it figured out with you guys, got it scheduled or anything, we were like, oh, what movie would we talk about? And I had thought well, if I ever went on by myself, I would definitely talk about Clue, because it is definitely the movie I've seen the most times, and I'm 99.9% sure it's my favorite movie. When it's kind of a paralyzing question when someone's like, what's your favorite anything?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, yeah, it's Clue. Yeah. I've seen it, I don't know, maybe a dozen times at this point, hella. And I love it very much. So,
When was the first time you saw it?
I was in 5th or 6th grade. It was at a Halloween sleepover at my friend Ashley Hawk's house. And it was just a group of children. And I didn't know about the, spoiler alert, 3 endings thing. And she did. She had seen the movie before. And so it happened where it's well, that's how it could have happened. And she turns at us. She's makes a face. She's aren't you fucking gagged? So that was the first time I've seen it. I've watched it at a couple Halloween parties. It's a great movie for that.
Yeah.
And the most recent time I watched it was last night with my boyfriend.
Oh, what a can't think of it.
He's seen it a couple times. I think every time he's seen it has been with me.
Oh.
So he loves it. He and I were just I think a really good movie to watch with someone else.
Yeah.
It's a good like party watch, friends watch, date night watch. Because it's just goofy and it's fun to like riff with someone.
Yeah, I watched it for the first time on Valentine's Day
Yeah,
with my
so
girlfriend Emily.
let's get into like what made you want to talk about this also.
So we knew we wanted to do a comedy when we were brainstorming for this.
Comedy month on the podcast.
Comedy month on the podcast.
We were like,
Fuck
we're out
yes.
like we're album reviews. We can't not pick a comedy. Like I don't want to talk about like I don't know the Green Mile, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You guys just talked about that one on your last one. I mean, I would talk about it, but it's just kind of a sad one.
I think we're both like comedy dorks.
Yeah. So we were almost thinking Hot Rod.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that
yeah.
on the show one time.
But
I
then
was-
Sarah's like, I really love Clue. And I was like, well, let me give it a shot. And I was like, oh, Clue's the one.
it's so good.
Yeah, it's really silly.
It's so
and I had
silly.
never seen it. I thought, for whatever reason, it was kind of like a more serious 80s whodunit. No idea that it
Fuck
was this
no.
good. Yeah.
But it still functions as a
It still
whodunit in like
does.
a serious
There's
way.
still some spooky moments in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. Yeah.
That's amazing.
What about y'all? What was your what did y'all think when we were like, we're gonna talk about Clue?
This was my third time seeing it, and the first time I saw it was in college. I think just like alone, I was like, I don't know what to watch.
Sure.
And I think I like saw the DVD somewhere and bought it and just had it lying around. I was like, I should probably watch this at some point because I own it. I think that's the first time I saw it, was just randomly buying the DVD used somewhere in Nashville.
Because you can only get the DVD at like a half price books.
Right.
That's the only
Yeah,
place
it
that
was
sells
like
Clue.
it was like I think this big like DVD warehouse, like book DVD record store warehouse in Nashville that I was like, yeah, Clue sounds fun.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time I saw it. And then I watched it again a couple of years ago. Just every time notice new little things that I'm like, this is funny. This is really funny. Oh, this is like a really funny movie. Just like
Yeah.
little details and little mannerisms that people will do in the background.
Yes.
Every actor is so good in this, and just it's fun just seeing them like respond to things and like pay attention to not the main person every time. Rewards multiple viewings, I feel.
Very that. Yeah.
And there's some jokes you don't even get the first time.
No.
Like on the way down here, I was like, best lines of Clue on YouTube. And there's some lines I was like, oh, that's why that's funny.
This is very fast movie.
It's dense.
Yeah.
It's like the jokes are written like a 30 Rock episode. Like they're
Yes.
packed.
Yeah.
And the pacing is so quick. Like, yeah.
So I remember seeing this at my grandmother's house.
Wow.
Work.
When I was a young lad. And I also remember playing Clue with my grandma. But it wasn't like she was a Clue head or anything.
Yeah.
It just so happened that both of those memories take place at my grandma's house.
Hello.
And yeah, it's kind of funny because I was watching it today and I'm like, wow, I actually kind of do know this game. I feel like more often than not, I don't have these kind of connections to these things. And people don't really be playing Clue maybe like they used to in the year of our Lord 2024. So
It's a shine.
yeah.
Damn shame.
But there it is. And then I think the last time I watched it was last year. I was kind of like, I think it was just on TV or something. But yeah, having a good time, having a ball. Just a fast, fun movie with lots of great bits. I got a little great bits list that we'll get to
Hell
maybe
yeah.
at some point.
Also,
love
really
the
quick, I
list.
need to make a correction of something I already said. First time I watched it was not college; it was high school, according to Letterboxd.
Wow.
You had
I'm already-
Letterboxd in high school?
No, but I referenced in my first review of this from the last time I watched it, which was in college. That I saw it in high school. I was getting it
Okay.
mixed up.
Wow.
And I said I've only. I didn't think much of it at the time. I just said the only other time I've seen this was in early high school. Up until today, I thought Susan Sarandon played Miss Scarlet.
No,
Totally.
because
She does not,
She doesn't.
but
No.
feels like she should.
Yeah.
Totally, dude. I thought it was when I
thought it was in
like
high
for a
school.
second.
Similar.
I have had Letterboxd since high school. We actually talked about this on the Mythical Lost episode.
I didn't know you were on the founding board of Letterboxd.
I've had Letterboxd for over 10 years.
Oh my goodness.
There's some gems.
Dude, don't look.
And you've got quite a few reviews. that
I've-
went out.
oh, man, I got them all.
It's in the thousands, right?
Yeah, I have 3,600 diary entries.
That's so many
goodness.
movies.
That's very impressive.
Or sad.
Was it
impressive.
Was it
It's
harder?
impressive.
¿Por qué no los dos?
It is such a funny way to. It really is my diary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never had a physical diary. My Letterboxd profile is the closest thing, which is really funny. Tommy likes to tell me what I wrote about
Anytime we're talking about a movie, I'll go on Letterboxd, and inevitably you've already like reviewed it.
Yes.
And I'll just be like, "Oh, this is what you said about it." And you're like, "Great."
Oh my gosh.
Checks out.
We were just talking about Paul Schrader before
you guys
y'all
got
came over
here.
here, and I was like, yeah, at one point I watched like every movie that he made, and he just kind of made a lot of like whatever movies, and you're like, yeah, you rated all of them 3 stars.
I was going through every Paul Schrader movie, like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you think he's mid?"
Yeah. I'm kind of a hater.
As a fellow hater, a lot of the time, I
Schrader
sympathize.
But a movie that's better than 3 stars is Clue from 1985,
Yes.
directed by Jonathan Lynn.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did a little research, and Jonathan Lynn was a BBC TV director, and I think you see a lot of that influence in the movie. It's like we were saying, fast, quick, like humor, and the way it's edited and performed is like the jokes don't linger, in the silence. It is very often just like snappy, like kind of almost like old Hollywood kind of snappy,
Yeah.
screwball
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Screwball's a good word for it.
And although I think one of my favorite, let's get into the great bits. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Great bits. And one of my favorites was the moment where after they found spoilers for the Clue. I don't know why you would be listening, but when they find the cook dead, and then they. I think Mr. Green says, maybe Mr. Body killed the cook. And then they both yell, 2 of them yell, yes. And then Tim Curry just goes, how? And then they just like sit in that for a second. And then it just cuts to the next conversation. And it's just like, that is how it feels to be a movie viewer sometimes. Like, I couldn't put 2 things together.
There's a lot of that where like it's just like the bit is how the other character reacts to the whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone's making choices all the time. Like, everyone's making capital C choices
Yes.
for their characters the whole movie, and it's such a delight. It's such a delight. What other good bits do you have written down?
Another one, a good bit for me was when they all walk into, I couldn't tell you the names of the rooms, but they walk into one room and Mr. Green is trying to find a place to sit.
Yes.
And then he ultimately settles on going over to like where the bar cart is, and he kind of like leans on it, and you think it's gonna fall apart, and then it doesn't, and then it cuts to Tim Curry, and he's going on a monologue about something, and then it cuts back to him, and the thing falls apart, and it cuts back to Tim Curry as if nothing has happened.
Right. He's going on about like, my wife like took her life because her friends were socialists.
Yeah.
Bark our fucking butts.
And then socialism was just a red herring.
It was a red herring.
Oh my god. And like, this is after Mr. Green gets blow after blow of like, I'm spilling cognac on this woman, and I'm spilling champagne on this woman, and also I'm gay, and I'm just a messy gay who spills liquids. And I was like, yeah, I get it, man. Oh my god, it's so good.
He also, he like when he comes out at the beginning, they're
Yes.
like, it kind of does also just again hit like a wall of non-response in a way, and it's just like, okay, and they don't, because he's pointing out how he, like, everybody's like, I am being blackmailed for X, and then he's like, I'll just go ahead and tell you,
I'll own it.
and then if you follow the logic to the point of the ending,
The end.
he had no reason to announce that he was gay. Like, so
It's the last line. Who wants to say it?
yeah.
Oh my god.
The last line is one of the all-time great last lines, and faces. He kind of like, it's like a freeze frame, and he's kind of got this little smirk on his face.
He's like you mad?
Yeah.
But I never put 2 and 2 that he said the line and is also a gay man. He's going home to sleep with his wife.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta watch it several times.
I just can't imagine like being in a theater and not having that ending.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Do you have any
Yeah.
more? We can go back to more bits.
No.
'Cause
We'll pop
a lot
back
of my
in.
notes are just about how mind-blowingly better ending C is compared to endings
Yes!
A and B. Like it only works all 3 of them in
Yes.
that order.
Very that.
I would be so mad if I went to like Music Box in 1980 whatever and like it was like, oh cool, yeah, Miss Scarlett did whatever, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
fucking my wife line. Oh
Yes.
my god.
it's the perfect.
And you might
ending.
not even know what you missed. So, okay, so this movie came out in 85, And as like a, I don't know, stunty promotional thing in theaters, when you watch like the home like box office release versions or whatever, if you stream it, you get to the end of the movie and the ending happens, and then it's like record scratch, freeze frame. That's how it could have happened. And you actually get 2 more alternate like endings after that. In the theaters in the 80s, every theater received a different ending, so you didn't get to see all 3. You ran kind of randomly. I don't know how they decided it. Got just like, one of those endings.
Just like the game of Monopoly, where there's a different ending each time.
Well, yeah, but it's clues.
That one, yeah.
This is the second movie on the podcast we've done where the movie has had literal multiple endings, because Wayne's World does the same thing.
That's true.
That's true. Fun fact. That's all I have to say about that.
But you're right. C is the best ending. And I think I was like reading that like it was like Siskel or Roger Ebert. One of them reviewed it and said that like A was the best ending.
Siskel and Ebert agreed that A was the best one and C was the worst.
I was like, you're a fool.
They just needed some shit to talk about.
Right.
Yeah, like they had to fill an hour of TV.
They wanted to be professional haters about a really fun romp.
I feel like they were thinking of it like a what makes the most sense sort of thing,
Sure.
but like that's
Like,
so
that's not
beside the
important.
point.
Yeah.
Right.
So beside
No
the
one was
point.
thinking about logic this whole movie.
No, like,
Logic
did you
wasn't
see
even
the
invented
movie?
till 86.
Yeah, 86
Exactly.
they invented logic.
Siskel and Ebert, icons of professional hating.
Yeah.
It really doesn't like I never really, it didn't really occur to me that people were not seeing all of that, you know. And then, like until I started reading some of the trivia for this movie, but why? You know, like
Right.
that, like it makes the most sense to get all of them because that's how the game works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like why, like just ideologically you have to have all 3. It's so weird. The thing that it said on Wikipedia was that, you know, it was a kind of a ploy to get people to maybe buy multiple tickets and see it different times, but that failed because no
It
one
was
was
a
like
floppiana.
It did flop by box office, yeah.
They didn't even break even.
Wow.
Nope.
Mama. I was thinking about the parallels between like Clue and Rocky Horror because I love both of those movies. Maybe because Tim Curry's the common denominator, but like both of them were like 80s releases, flopped at the box office, cult following later. And I didn't realize like what a cult following Clue the movie had. Like I saw there were like fan documentaries and like merch and like all this shit. And I'd never been privy to it. I just liked the movie and watched it a bunch. So I was like learning about all that, like just Googling shit today. Yeah.
Well, do you guys, speaking of the endings, I only saw this, I read this somewhere and saw it in a video about the 4th ending they didn't put in.
Oh,
Did you guys read about
I
that?
read about it and I can't remember what it was now.
And it's kind of funny. Like I kind of like it was, so they didn't put it in because it was too dark. And so the 4th ending was the butler.
Wadsworth did it all.
Wadsworth
yep,
did it
yep,
all
yep.
because
And he poisoned the champagne, so they were all going to
They
die,
were
and there
all
weren't
gonna
going to be any
die,
witnesses.
and then in the end he leaves, he steals the cop car, and it ends with like growls of the dogs in the back, and the cop car crashes. And I'm like, ooh, that is dark.
It's like, I think it's
Choice.
kind of corny. I don't.
like the funniest character just dying at the end.
Right. Well, that is a little bit like, oh, at least you brought the dogs back, because they spend a lot of time at the very beginning of the movie,
the
like
dogs.
with
Steps in the
these
dog
damn
shit.
dogs.
That's a weird
the very
bit.
first
It's a great
visual
bit,
bit
though,
is
then
the
everyone
dog.
thinks they stepped in shit.
More villains need to have hounds. Like I'm thinking Mr. Burns
Yes.
style,
Oh,
just
yeah.
like more villains need hounds around.
Yeah.
I've been watching these movies, James Bond. You got to check them out. They
Oh,
got
haven't
cats,
heard
they
of
got
them.
dogs, they got
Love
all
animals.
They got
101
sharks.
Dalmatians, I've heard, has some dogs
Has
in
dogs.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
and like a lady, like an evil lady, who really cares
Fox
about
and the
them.
Hound at least has a fox.
Then it turns out though that she's not evil. She was, you know,
A fashion designer with vision.
she was
Karl
misunderstood. She was misunderstood. Cruella,
Yeah.
now streaming on Disney Plus.
Starring Emma Stone.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
I've never actually watched it, but it was playing one time at a nail salon where I was getting my nails done, but it was muted.
It
So I
was
kinda
fun.
Like, it looked beautiful.
It was directed by the I, Tonya guy, I'm pretty sure. And it,
Oh, I love
yeah.
I, Tonya.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a solid enough movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I, Tonya's better, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I, Tonya's better than most things.
Yeah, I saw that a couple times in theaters back when Movie Pass existed.
Rip. Ripperoo.
Dude,
I think those were around the same time.
Speaking of Emma Stone,
Love that.
Actors are in this.
I would love to see a remake with some modern actors. That would be amazing.
That would be fun.
They're probably gonna do it with all these random Mattel and Hasbro movies they're throwing out there.
yeah.
after
No,
Barbie now,
literally,
right?
like last year was so. I was just listening to your most recent episode this morning, and y'all were talking about 2023 being the year of IP movies. I'm like, they were doing that back in '85.
Well, IP movies that I liked specifically. That
Well,
was
they were
the
doing
crazy-
that back in '85 too.
Yeah,
At least one.
Yeah, at least one.
Yeah.
I guess Transformers, the movie that came out, the original
2000
animated one.
Oh, animated one.
Um,
I was thinking which
I don't know
Also
if you
super
saw
dark.
like the Ovaltine movie that came out.
The
in 85.
Ovaltine movie.
I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
Maybe. Somebody drank too much Ovaltine and they went fucking crazy. Sylvester
a horror
Stallone movie is.
It's just Rambo, but he's drinking
Murder Teen.
I went to Rambo too.
Whoa.
That's so funny.
I'm trying to make that.
Get to the chopper, and he's got like the chocolate mustache.
That's sick.
What is Ovaltine? Is it chocolate milk?
I think it's chocolate
Yeah.
milk.
I had no
Yeah.
idea.
There was so they were planning a remake of Clue.
Oh,
A
they
script had been bumping around since 2018 from the writers of the Deadpool movies, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who are also apparently responsible for the Zombieland movies and Monsters Inc.
Oh.
Monsters Inc. I will fight for. That
Yeah.
changed that whole situation.
I know,
for me.
right?
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, I was like,
That's a great
I was like,
resume
oh.
of movies.
Zombieland
Like,
too. I
I-
wouldn't be
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
Each one of those got better. I was like,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will.
Yes.
I
Also,
will,
Disney's Dinosaur. Anybody see that one? I saw that in theater.
when I was a real
No.
kid, like really
Maybe when
little,
I was a
have
baby.
like, yeah,
Guess how it ends?
they die.
The dinosaurs
Spoiler.
are they smile.
The dinosaurs die at the end of the movie.
Guys, don't go see Disney's Dinosaur if you're not ready. Yeah, and I guess Ryan Reynolds was originally attached to that, and then
Wow.
Who do you think did it say like who he would play?
it
He would have
said-
cast himself as Wadsworth, I bet.
That's annoying.
It is.
He
He's-
plays-
But
I
also
bet-
fine.
he's a Mr. Green, I think.
Or Mr. Body, maybe.
Victor-
Or a Mr.
Mr.
Body.
Body, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No, they have to stunt cast Mr. Body and make it like Mark Hoppus or something. They have to get another like rock and roll guy.
Hell yeah.
That's fun.
Because anyway,
No, to finish the remake story, the only other news on that was no longer Ryan Reynolds, but then Jason Bateman was tapped to maybe direct, but it's kind of development hell since then.
Sure.
Speaking of Lee Ving, who plays Mr. Body, punk rock history.
yes.
Yes.
Mr. Lee Ving, the frontman for the Los Angeles hardcore band Fear, featured prominently in one of my favorite documentaries, The Decline of Western Civilization, which is a high recommend for all you movie clubbers out there. I think he's kind of amazing casting because A, so niche, but also like the whole identity of Fear and his like stage presence is like he's such a dickhead.
Yeah.
And like like they're very like 80s punk where it's a little bit like edgy and kind of like not PC, and I feel like he's a jerk and like he comes in and everybody hates him and then
Yeah.
he gets killed for it. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of
It's like cathartic
Brilliant.
a little bit about that, maybe.
yeah. And I was like, that's awesome.
At least he has a sense of humor about it.
And little weird tangent on this, but I had read the biography of John Belushi, and Belushi was a huge fan of this band, and was constantly pitching when he was going into like meet for movies, and tragically only made a couple because he like couldn't get his life under control, but he was constantly pitching Fear to be in movies. And it was like he would be like we're talking about a really vulgar like hardcore punk band, and would like go into meetings for like cute SNL things, and he'd be like, yeah, but you got to play this, and then he would like bring in a jukebox and play like the most like insane music.
I don't care about you. Fuck you. I don't care about you. Sweet Hollywood Boulevard, welfare hotel. I spent the night in jail in the Wilcox Hotel. I don't care about you.
And yeah, he was just obsessed with them, and I think this is probably the closest that they got. You know,
Do you know about the Saturday Night Live Fear story?
I know that he had convinced them to let Fear play, and it was a huge disaster.
It was like a Halloween episode in, I don't know, whatever year. And like Fear played, and people on the SNL stage started like fucking moshing, and like
Nice.
I think it was live, and I don't know if at that time they had like the delay on live where they can like bleep shit in the, I don't know, control room. So people are just obscene as hell and like tearing shit down at like fucking 30 Rock. And Fear the band was banned for life from Saturday Night Live.
Wow. But
The
not
entity.
Clue, thankfully.
But not Clue. Well, I didn't know until recently that Leaving was like who he was. He's still alive.
I think they're still. Yeah, he's still
Yeah.
alive. I think Fear even is like kind of together in a way.
Work.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that history, and I didn't know it was really like kind of a stunt cast. I just was like watching the movie when I was a kid, and I was like, he's not as good as the rest of them. I was like, he's not a very good actor, I don't think.
Yeah, he isn't acting as well as like,
No,
Tim Curry, right?
because he doesn't say any of his lines like a human would say them. He's like, I think it's a hoax. I suggest we all leave. It's very Tommy Wiseau, and like, and it makes me giggle. I also saw that like maybe also all his lines were overdubbed. I don't know
Interesting.
much more than
He was
that.
just licking peanut butter off the roof of his mouth, and they recorded it later.
Yeah, he was like a
That'd be cool.
beagle.
No, they only dubbed it so that he could add all the New Yorkisms to it. You know, because
yeah.
because he has like a weird like a character in the
Kind of
Sopranos
Brooklyn,
thing.
Yeah.
like yeah,
Yeah.
You come to me on the day of my
my mansion dinner,
Yeah.
my monkey brain dinner.
the Cantonese, but she's from Washington.
So Lee Ving plays Mr. Body, and then of course Tim Curry as
Icon.
Wadsworth.
Yes.
I had read that Rowan Atkinson was considered for the role,
Oh.
but then they said too British.
Yeah, I think like Paramount like was like never heard of the bloke and just like didn't hire him. And then cut to all the Mr. Bean of it all. It was like, well,
Senor Bean.
yeah. But then you get Tim Curry, which I'm
Yeah.
never mad at.
So good.
We got some Tim Curry heads in the house.
Rise up.
So this
Curry
was
gang.
the
Fellow
segment I
Aries.
wanted to talk about. This is my coworker gave me this idea.
Hell yeah.
She was like, "What do you know Tim Curry from is more important than your astrological sign?"
Oh, sure.
It like really tells you like.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you guys what you know Tim Curry from and what
Like
that
most
says about you.
prominently?
Yeah.
I saw Clue before Rocky Horror, but I think Rocky Horror, he rents more space in my head.
More
probably.
space. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good Tim Curry.
Yeah.
It's a really
You ready for this?
yeah.
Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the definitive Tim Curry in my brain. I mean, like, I think when I was watching this movie, I was kind of like, isn't it crazy, like, how many roles he's had where he's, like, really transformed himself? You know, Pennywise and Rocky Horror and stuff. But then I was like, wait, but I still know this guy from Home Alone 2, though.
Yeah. I think the
Like-
first thing I actually saw him in was Annie. Y'all see the movie
Oh.
release of Annie?
Oh,
He
is
plays
the
like
Annie?
the. No, he doesn't play. No, he plays Sandy the dog. No.
Oh, he's in
No,
Annie?
it's like there's like the evil couple that comes and is like in cahoots with whatever I don't know the plot of Annie very well. I watched it when I was a kid. But there's like an evil couple who comes and Tim Curry's like half of the evil couple and he's got like a little pencil thin mustache.
Oh.
And that was the
That's
first
the
thing
first
I saw
one?
him in.
Nice.
But it's not the thing that takes up the most space.
So
It's
mine
probably
is like
Rocky.
a misremembered for a little bit. I thought he was in Hook. I was like, maybe he's the pirate in Hook, and I was like, no,
No, sir.
he's the pirate in
Muppet
Treasure.
Muppet Treasure.
Yep.
And
Yes.
that is my Tim Curry,
That's
and that
awesome.
probably says something about me.
I think that's beautiful.
Also, we can't forget Charlie's Angels. Just for the record, he's in Charlie's Angels. Fantastic. McG, is that who directed that?
McG, yeah.
Yeah,
dude. I fuck with McG.
I do too.
Can you imagine? Okay, like, more directors need to, like, own up to like what are these directors? Steven Spielberg, okay, Dan Stewart. What are these names? Mick G came on the scene in '90s. He's like,
you.
I'm like Madonna for film. I'm like, I got one name. I'm Mick
Thank
G. I'm gonna do some
Yeah.
Sugar Ray videos. I'm doing Charlie's Angels, Terminator Salvation. I'm out.
Yep.
Is he out?
No, he did those like babysitter movies on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
sure.
keep seeing that. Should I watch that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Mick G.
glowing recommendation.
Well, that's not
Why not? I have semi-positive memories of that.
okay.
And Mick G basically, again, he developed that
Can
90s
you pull up his letterbox?
music video.
I'm on it.
Get the stat. Hey, can you pull up the stats on Mick G?
Hold on.
He
He developed
developed that,
one-handed.
that
Mick
that
G,
music
University
video.
of Alabama, tight end.
He did Family Switch, which I think is on Netflix, which came out last year. Yeah.
No, I meant pull up Dan's
Oh,
sitter
Dan.
letterbox.
Oh, yes, please do.
I was like McG. I'm on it.
Yeah, I also thought you
so
meant
the
Mick
first,
G.
So the first line is a simply ludicrous movie. McGee's cocaine-esque directing is unreal. It's absurd and extreme at every turn. It flips between entertaining and trash guilty pleasure.
Oh.
It's like accessing parts of my brain that I didn't know were there.
There are
Yeah.
movies that I thought I didn't like that I went back and gave like 4 stars,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
It's funny.
So like, just think about like what a Sugar Ray music video looked like in the '90s. He
Sure.
invented that shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a genre.
Yeah, it is. Justice
a
for
mixed
McG.
genre.
McGenre.
McGenre.
That's what it's short for.
Where's the sound? Where's the?
Where's
The red one.
Where's the red one?
Fuck yeah, dude! I'm buying one of these things.
Hell yeah.
Oh shit. Not McG, but McKean Michael, Michael, as it would appear in the phone book,
Oh, the
Green
best.
comma
as
Mister.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Michael McKean, super underrated comedic actor.
One of my favorite.
He's so
people.
funny in this movie.
True.
And just in general.
He's so good. All the Christopher Guest movies, like Spinal Tap. Oh my God, he's so funny. Best in Show, one of my favorite roles of his. And then Better Call Saul. I only saw the first season of it, but he's like really good in it.
I need to watch Better Call Saul. Because
I
I
need
watched
to
Breaking
finish
Bad
it.
and
Yeah.
enjoyed it very much, of course.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he plays Saul's brother in Better Call Saul.
Oh.
Yes.
It's like a very dramatic like role. Like, he's like a very mentally ill man. Like
Wow.
I remember being really intense, and I was like, that's fucking Spinal Tap guy, David St. Hubbins. What? Blew my mind.
Capital A actor.
Yep.
Yeah, that's called range.
There are so many people in this who like are actually just good actors.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a crazy cast.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
I have a little Michael McKean connection. So he was in a short film directed by a family friend of mine.
Oh.
If you know Casey Wilson, she
Yeah.
was on SNL and she had a show called Happy Endings that was on like Showtime. But she directed a film about her dad, who is like a longtime friend of my dad's, and Michael McKean plays him in the movie.
That's
in the short
kooks.
film. But yeah, and that was weird to see like a Hollywood person like
Do
play
someone
a
you
person
know.
that you know.
Yeah.
That was bizarre.
That's wild.
But
And it's David St. Hubbins.
yeah,
The patron saint of quality footwear.
Spinal Tap 2 is coming. They shot
It is. They're making
Hell
Spinal
yeah.
Tap. Yeah. I'm
Is
so
it
excited.
the same cast?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Is that going to
That's
be good though?
gorge.
I think I don't care. I'm gonna love
Okay.
it. I'm gonna love it no matter if it's good or bad. I am so spinal pilled.
Tap pilled.
Tap pilled.
Tapped.
Spinal pill.
My
Tapped. I'm
spine
so
is
tapped. That's what I should
tapped, mama.
Well, when that comes out, we'll follow up on the pod.
Yeah, Christopher Guest.
Spinal Tap
can
watch.
Spinal tap
Do
watch.
no wrong. Oh my God.
The spine is a bone, so it is kind of bone watch.
Skeleton.
Ooh,
very
Good call.
Yeah.
We found
Skeleton
one.
watch.
We found one.
We found one. Thank God.
There
Now
were
you
so
can
many
write it off.
bodies in this one. I was like, man, there's so many bodies, but there's not any
There's no
skeletons.
bones.
But there is one bone. There is part of a skeleton in this movie. He gives it
wonder.
to the dog.
It's like, I thought it was like a steak.
I thought it was like a little bone or something.
Oh, I
I
thought he
don't
had
know.
like a bag of meat. I don't know. There could have been a bone in it. There could have been a bone in it.
Yeah. I think it's bone watch.
Bone
What do
Watch.
you think? What do you guys think? You're
Bone Watch.
You guys are the creators of Skeleton Watch.
Is Bone Watch the? I think you should leave. What is?
Oh,
No,
the
no.
bones are their money.
I was thinking when he's like, it's a bone mother or whatever. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Cocktail's kicking in. Speaking of
Mother love
cocktail
bone.
kicking in, do you want to really quick?
Boom.
Oh
Bust that door
That
down.
was my transition to
Yeah,
just saying
yeah.
I'm getting drunk.
Nice. Okay, so today's cocktail is the
Corpse.
Reviver
Zip.
number.
So there are two types of corpse reviver.
Oh.
There's one that is base as apple brandy, which in hindsight, Dan pointed
Yeah.
out we should have made because they drink brandy in the
They
movie.
do.
Mm.
And I didn't think about that, and I should have.
And it's poisoned,
Yeah.
Maybe.
just like our brandy.
Yeah, I would have poisoned you guys for the bit.
And I would have screamed and fell on a couch.
Poisoned for the bit is pretty good. That's the best way I'd want to get
Poison
poisoned.
for the bit.
Poison-
Speak for
Good band
yourself.
name. But so the corpse reviver number 2 we made is gin based. It's got gin. It's got orange liqueur, lemon juice, Lillet Blanc, which is a white wine aperitif,
Ooh.
and a little splash of absinthe.
Yum, yum, yum.
Wow.
I really like it. I like absinthe just wherever it may go.
Mm-hmm.
So this is quite enjoyable.
Makes me
little
feel
splash.
fancy to have
It
absinthe.
was delicious. I didn't know it was that involved when you were in there making it. It was
Yeah.
like a bunch of
But
ingredients.
it's equal parts everything but the absinthe. So it's really
Hell
easy to
yeah.
make. Yeah.
Love
so
an
as much
equal
as you want to make,
parts.
just
It's
pour it in
delicious.
It's quite good. I think
Yeah.
this is my first corpse reviver period.
nice.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'm enjoying it very much. I love a gin drink.
Nice. I've been getting more into gin this year. One of my goals was to like gin more.
Yeah.
Last year was rum year. This is gin year,
That's
I
a
think.
good goal.
Yeah.
Gin tan laundry.
One of the managers at my job, he's done like everything in the service industry. He's been like a bouncer, a bartender, or whatever. He used to work at Berlin like 20
Hell
years
yeah.
ago. And sometimes he'll just say some stuff that just like I don't know where it came from. And one time he was just like, "Gin just makes people violent." And I was like, "What?"
Does it?
He must have some story, but he didn't elaborate at all. He just talked about gin. He's like, "Were they drinking gin?" And I'm like, "What?"
All those British sailors drinking that naval strength gin back in World War II, just going nuts.
What is like the origins of gin? You know, like there's like drinks you drink for certain reasons, like you get like champagne and stuff. But like, why
Yeah.
did people start drinking gin? Does anyone know?
I don't.
Fuck if I know.
It's just
like
what
what-
mashed and distilled.
Elderberry, right?
I think there's all kinds of things
Well,
that
there's
can
like
be made from.
juniper it can be made
Oh,
from.
yeah, yeah.
I feel like
Juniper berries, I
gin's
meant.
like it's like a big umbrella
yeah.
Yeah.
of like, I don't know, there's just like herbs and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Trying to do some research. It started with monks.
That checks
Ooh.
out.
Of
That's
classic.
so
Yeah.
classic.
Of
Uh-huh.
course.
Of
in
course.
so 13th century monks used to distill sharp, fiery alcoholic tonics, one of which was
Ooh.
distilled from wine infused with juniper berries.
There you go.
There you go.
That's the
Great.
earliest we got.
So a very non-violent origin.
We know what the monks were up to.
Monk Fight
Behind
Club.
those closed doors.
You don't talk about Monk Fight Club.
You ever seen that movie Bulletproof Monk?
No.
Me either, but I bet
It's
I
real.
bet he drinks some gin in it. Next movie club. We just guessed what happens in the movie Bulletproof Monk
That would be a fun bonus episode
yeah.
for the Patreon.
for the Patreon.
Drinking gin and getting violent with this cast include the murder mystery film from 1985. We also have Christopher Lloyd as Professor Plum.
Amazing.
Yeah, get into that
The
kid.
Yeah.
legend. He really doesn't. He doesn't do a ton in the movie. I feel like
He's like a
he's
just a
there.
weird little goof.
He's
Yeah,
kind of a
it's
creeper,
creepy.
yeah.
Yeah, just a little creepy.
Yeah.
kind of his
just
vibe.
slightly perverted.
And this is before Back to the Future or after?
I think it's the
Same
same
year?
year.
Same year. Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know month by month which one came out for it. Well, we know which one did better in the fucking box office,
Yeah.
but
I was gonna
one
say he called his
everyone
agent. He's
talks
like, look, we got to do a little bit more of that and a little less of that.
Yeah.
hey, so this was a learning year for us. Let's evaluate our strategy.
A rose and a thorn. For
Yeah.
the year.
From creepy psychiatrist to mad
Rose, thorn,
scientist.
bud.
Yeah.
He is a little creep in this movie. You know what psychiatrists aren't supposed to do with their patients?
Shoot him.
He did it.
Yeah. That's a great line. Love that.
So good. There's just so many like zoop, like little zoop.
Professor Plum, of course, and then as Yvette was
Yes.
Colleen Camp. which for some movie club heads played Mrs. Vanderhoff in Wayne's World.
Yep.
That was something I had to like look up, but
I looked it up. I think the last time I saw this, I was like, she looks so familiar. It was driving me insane.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's in 1.5 scenes in Wayne's World.
Yeah, she's really funny in it.
Yeah.
I feel like
Do I
she's
frighten you?
really like underrated. Or maybe like, I don't know, the last time I watched this with a big group, everyone was like, haha, like the sexy maid with big boobs and she's French. But she's also like, her physical comedy is really good in this movie. Like, I think she plays like undercase B bimbo very well. Like the scene where Colonel Mustard and Scarlett are like locked in, I don't know, the library or whatever. And Yvette, the maid, goes and like grabs a gun and she shoots the door and she just goes, "Come out, it's open." I'm like, you just shot a gun. Like you shot a man in the shoulder. And she's like, just so matter of fact with it in like her little outfit. I love her. I think she's so funny. And like, I've seen this movie so many times. And even last night, I was noticing things I had never noticed before because there really is just a lot going on the whole time. But like there's a scene where kind of the whole squad is like, okay, we got to split up, there's a murderer in here, we got to search the house. So Wadsworth, Tim Curry, the butler, grabs a bunch of very long like fireplace matches and he cuts them into little sections and they draw straws to see who is going to search where. And Yvette the maid like holds on to her match for a really long time. Like everyone leaves the kitchen, everyone leaves their match behind once they've got her pair. But she and Mr. Green, who we think is gay, and it's funny because she has big boobs, they like go up to the attic to search and she's like still like holding on to her match.
I didn't even realize.
While they're
It's her
like going up the
security
stairs. Exactly. She's frightened. And it's just like little things like that where I'm like, what a fun choice.
Yeah, she does one of my favorite lines, or does the build up to it, where she says, "Wee wee."
No, I just want to powder my nose.
No, just powder my nose by her face. It's so good to like that deadpan of a joke. Like it really makes the joke.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those that are just like word choice.
Yes.
bits.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like it's so irrelevant to who even is saying it.
Yeah.
You know?
If they just
Sucker
want to
for
make a pun.
wordplay.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I read that basically they had tried out a bunch of people for the role, including like Jennifer Jason Leigh and Madonna.
Madonna. Been funny.
But it said something like once Jonathan Lynn, director, saw her, he's like, it's got to be her, just because of the way she looks.
Hey, fair enough. You're
yeah.
casting the French
Yeah.
maid. I get it. Good thing you got someone who was funny too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Miss Scarlet is played by Leslie Ann Warren, not Susan Sarandon.
Blew my mind.
She's amazing.
She's so good. She's so good.
And that role was originally cast to Carrie Fisher.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
Carrie Fisher had entered rehab just 4 days before beginning production, and they had to
Wow.
make a last-minute switch.
Fair enough.
And Leslie Ann Warren pulled up to the spot, and she said, I fucking got this.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen her in anything else? 'Cause I have no context for who this person is or what else they've done. Or
No.
I don't really know. Allegedly, she's in Daredevil, the Netflix that I liked a lot, but I don't remember.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was great. I just never knew who she was.
Yeah. No, she showed up and she put on an emerald gown and
Yeah.
she said, guys, don't worry. I'm on it.
Yeah, she's not in much notable stuff here. Yeah, she was in the Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs movie.
For real?
If everybody
That feels
remembers
like you
that.
I
probably
only
missed that
saw
one.
the one that people saw, but cool.
J-Obs, if you will.
Yeah.
She played Clara Jobs.
Huh.
I didn't see that one. I saw Steve Jobs,
Yeah, that's-
the
yeah.
far more refined full name.
Sorkin looking movie.
We should just keep making them. What if we did like a James Bond style franchise where we
For
just
Steve
keep
Jobs.
we just keep doing Steve Jobs, and it's like we cast new people as.
That's sick.
I would really want to see the Austin Powers spoof of the Jobs cinematic.
Jobs.
That would make a great parody. Somebody parodying like Steve Jobs movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like some fake tech guru who's just like the worst.
Weird Al does jobs.
Weird Al.
That would be delicious.
Actually, in the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies, there is a guy who's the bad guy is basically Steve Jobs and Rupert Murdoch like put together. He's like a newspaper magnate.
Hell yeah.
But he dresses like Steve Jobs, and he's the bad guy, and it's played by Jonathan Price.
That's
Oh,
funny.
It's
Sick.
wild.
Wow.
Anyway, this isn't a jobs podcast.
This is
It's a
Jobs.
Leslie Ann Warren podcast.
Thank you.
She killed it, Miss Scarlet. Something. This is just a random aside and dumb thought that I had, but I was like, I kind of wish everybody had crazier costumes. Is that insane?
No, yeah,
No.
because the costumes across the board are, I think, like kind of subtly reflective
Yeah.
of the characters. You know,
It's in there.
like Miss Scarlet like runs like a little sex house in Washington. So she's wearing this very low cut, like kind of
Yeah.
slinky, kind of tight, and like Miss
And her
White,
hair is red.
and her hair is
You
red,
know.
very scarlet, and like Miss Peacock quite literally has feathers on her
Yeah.
head, but they're kind of subtle, and she's also like very anxious and kooky and like
Birdie.
scatterbrained.
Yeah.
And she's wearing this very busy, very sparkly, like she's the wife of a senator. I'm mostly thinking about the lady stuff because I don't honestly pay that much attention to
Well,
what the
from the
guys are
game,
wearing.
Mr. Green was in a green suit, or am I misremembering that?
It's kind of blue.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They and like Plum, he's got kind of like a grapey kind of looking.
Yeah.
And Colonel
vest.
Mustard was definitely a yellow suit, or am I?
It's like
It's
brown.
like tan.
Oh, okay.
He's Dijon.
Okay.
Dijon.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, I want them to be Power Rangers or something.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I-
the little figures. That's
You know
what
what I
they
mean?
are.
Let me direct movies.
You can direct the remake. Get it out of
Yeah.
production hell.
Yeah. Tommy, do you have thoughts on that?
On the Power Ranger thing?
Yeah.
No, I think that would have been fun too.
Nice.
I had no problem with the costuming in the movie as is, but
You
Like
heard
Power
me,
Rangers.
20th Century Fox. Tommy's on board.
I feel like the movie, because it's such a silly concept, like Clue the board game as a movie is very like, how are you gonna do that? So like I think they could have, I mean it's a very cheeky movie, and I think there are a lot of like very nonsensical slapstick things that happen, but there is also like a little bit of a groundedness to it.
yeah.
Like they do kind of feel like real people, and it
all the
like
political stuff kind of sort of playing into it, but not really like
Right.
so rooted in real life.
Socialism in the 50s.
right. I kind of appreciated it. Like it felt like they took this like it's a board game. Can I say something vulnerable?
Yeah.
I've never played a game of Clue.
Wow.
I've never played a game of Clue.
I've played Simpsons Clue exclusively,
But that's
That
good.
makes sense.
but it's a fun game.
That makes sense. I feel like it stands alone as a fun movie to watch if you don't give a fuck about, not that I don't give a fuck about the franchise, the board game franchise, but like if you just want to watch a fun like black comedy murder mystery, boom, I'll recommend it.
Yeah, it seems to be going for like an ensemble, you know, comedy drama where things are more just like it's like a play, you know.
It does feel
did
like
feel like
that.
a
It's shot that way for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So I think that it was a conscious choice that they were like, we can tell you that he's Plum without being a Power Ranger. But I, you know, I'm a little bit like, I don't know. It just like, it was just in my
Could be
head.
the move.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just because like Mustard shows up and he's like kind of like hinting at yellow, and I'm like, okay, I see where you're going. And they're like, wait a damn minute, Mrs. White's in black. And I'm
The
like,
real
that don't make
Clue
no sense.
heads are over here pissed as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like how they introduce each character with the door and the funny bit about the
poop.
stepping in dog poop. And
Yeah.
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 it's very like, oh, these are the characters from the game, like moment.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we got Martin Mull plays Colonel Mustard. And he just looked so familiar, and I was really trying to place him. I guess he is just like a longtime comedian. His filmography was just a lot of kind of bit parts and various things. He's in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh.
But I
Swag.
wasn't. I don't know that movie too well. I definitely saw it when I was young, but I don't know.
Same.
But I discovered it's one of those weird things. The thing I know him from is Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I forgot.
Do you know the scene where he's trying to win the Turbo Man from the radio station, and they like barge into the radio station, and there's like a DJ, and he's like, "I told that you would get it eventually." That's Colonel Mustard. Sorry guys, I just know Jingle All the Way pretty well.
That's
you're
awesome.
blowing my mind though, because you just helped me connect that he's Gene Parmesan in Arrested Development.
Martin Mull?
That's Gene Parmesan from Arrested Development.
Get the fuck out
I
of here.
just connected that dot and I confirmed it because I was like, wait, Martin Mull, I know that name. I just forgot that was who played Mustard, and I was like, holy shit. Gene
Wait.
Parmesan.
He's in an episode of The Simpsons.
Which one?
It says in 1998 he played a character Seth. Am I reading that right?
Seth.
Classic Simpsons character.
98 would have been a season I still know a lot of.
Seth Simpson.
Let's look. Oh, Dawn in the Wind. So this is a season 10 episode where Homer teams up with two hippies that run the farm that his mom used to go to, and I think he plays one of the hippies.
Sick.
And they like make like organic juice, and Homer doesn't know that weed like isn't one of the plants for the juice, and he puts the weed in the juice and gets everyone high in Springfield.
Sick.
Yep.
Great
Yep.
episode.
I'm tracking.
Sounds
I'm
like.
tracking.
Gorgeous.
He's in a bunch of voice acting stuff. Like he was in Danny Phantom. It looked like, and like a video game I know I'd played. That's just funny when people do voice acting like that.
Dang, Martin Mull.
Martin Mull.
I didn't watch the credits long enough to get to the M's. Dang.
They are alphabetical.
Yeah.
They make a point of saying it's alphabetical because God forbid we put Tim Curry first. Whatever.
But almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one little weird cameo is that Jane, I don't know if it's Weedland or Wideland from The Go-Go's.
Yes.
It plays the singing telegram person. It's another little punk rock moment.
Da 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 da.
It's very
in the film.
1985 of him.
Tiny little part, but so special.
And kind of cool.
Yeah.
I forgot that it came back at the end. When they first killed her, I was just like, that was kind of mean.
And
Like, I
it's
was a little hurt at first. I was like, that was really cruel for no reason. But then it comes back and I was like, oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really good, like physical comedy. Just like her and then the gun.
It's like a 5 second. It's so quick that it
Yeah.
So
happened.
you're just like, wait, did they just what?
It just seems like a very appropriate reaction
And it's
to
right
annoying
after-
dancing.
It's right after like 2 other murders that are kind of like built up. Like they're
Yeah.
people who have been in the house for a while, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And then it's just this goofy little gal on the porch, and they're like, bam. Yeah. It's good shit.
It's funny.
It's a funny movie.
Yeah, did you mention Madeline Kahn, or were you going to? I'm not talking about Madeline Kahn. Because I just rewatched Blazing Saddles recently.
Slay.
And she's also amazing in that. But the whole time I saw her in this, I kept thinking of the "I'm Tired" song from Blazing Saddles. If you're not familiar, she plays like a German like lounge singer, and she's like really bad at it. And sings the song where she's like, "I'm so tired of love," but she's just talking about how like exhausted she is all the time and like doing a really shitty dance. Blazing Saddles, so good.
That's so funny.
Great movie. But my favorite, the biggest laugh in this entire movie for me was Madeline Kahn. There's a moment, where did I write it? So Tim Curry, he's like turning off the lights a bunch when he's like reenacting the murder and everyone's freaking out, screaming every time. The last time he turns off the lights, he turns them back on, and Madeline Kahn has this like delayed little scream, and it's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
She just goes like,
Ah!
it's the tiniest little.
It's like she couldn't like.
She's like,
I laughed so fucking hard.
she's so funny in this.
She's so good.
Oh
I really
my God.
like an ending B with the flames.
Flames.
The flames and the breath.
On the side of my face.
Same girl.
So iconic.
That's another one where they kind of
Iconic.
just like they're like, all right, they let the character do the thing,
Yeah.
and everybody else is like, in a movie full of people being extra. Every now and then they just go, all right,
Like, let it out, girl.
yeah.
Have your moment.
But I know her from another funny movie that if you're a fan of this movie, you'll probably be a fan of this one too. Young Frankenstein.
Yep.
She's
Oh, yeah.
Elizabeth, and that's a very good deadpan.
Was she in other Mel
Slapstick.
Brooks movies? She was in.
No.
I can't remember. I feel like she was in all of them, but let me confirm that. Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, History of the World, High Anxiety.
She was in the Muppets movie?
Yeah, she's in the Muppet movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Young Frankenstein is also amazing. I haven't
It's
seen
so
History of the
funny.
World though.
Oh, it's really good. Hulu did like a new version of it.
Yeah, I wanna watch
and
that
that's
too.
also funny.
Yeah. Gotta get on that. I love Mel Brooks.
Yeah, History of the World is good because it's it's real history, but then it's just Mel Brooks version.
Yeah, which is all I want. It's all I ever
Yeah,
wanted out of a
that's all you
history
really
lesson.
need.
Just very goofy.
Is that the whole cast? Did we do everybody?
Eileen Brennan.
Yes.
Mrs. Peacock.
Yes.
Love her ass. Love her ass. I dressed as Mrs. Peacock for a party once.
Nice.
I think Mrs. Peacock is my favorite character. It's either Miss Peacock or Wadsworth. She is just so hectic in the whole movie. She's so like there's one part at the end where they're like putting together. Wadsworth's like, I know who killed everyone, and they're like putting it together. She's like, does that mean? Oh my God, of course. Like she has these line deliveries that are so like goofy, so goofy. Or like there's the scene where Mr. Body leaving, or so we think is Mr. Body, dies, or so we think. And they're trying to figure out, like, the lights turn off and they turn back on. He winds up dead on the floor, and they're like, oh my God, how'd he die? What the hell? And they heard a gun go off, so they're like, oh my God, did you shoot him? And they're like, no, I didn't do it. And Mrs. Peacock, like, goes to, like, have a drink 'cause she's stressed out. I think Professor Plum's like, maybe he was poisoned. And she just starts screaming and like waving her hands around and like freaking out. And it's just so goofy. She's so goofy. I love her. I love her. I'm not very familiar with her work outside of the movie, but in it, she's very good.
Yeah, I got her letterbox pulled up, and the only other thing I've seen her in is the Last Picture Show, but I didn't know she was in that until right now, so I couldn't tell you what she did.
Slay.
That also would have been like almost 20 years before this.
Right.
Yeah.
So very different. Yeah. Time and type of movie.
Toads.
Yeah, what a good cast.
What a good cast.
One scene in this movie, speaking of things that are characters but not characters, the murder weapons. I
Yes.
love when they introduce all the murder weapons after like Body like gives them all like the boxes like wrapped in everything. The way they present them reminded me of like Avengers Endgame, like them coming out of the portals. Like they linger on every weapon for so long, like, oh, this is what
Yes.
you guys were waiting for.
And they
And it's
give
like, what?
every weapon like a little musical sting
Yeah.
as they like take it out of the
Yeah, and it's like we don't what?
and it lasts a while.
It goes on for a bit.
Yeah.
Like it was like an applause break built in like a Marvel movie, and I was like, what?
For the rope.
For the rope, yeah. The candlestick.
The candlestick.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much like the fan service.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
almost
for all
for the
the
game.
clue heads that went
Yeah,
and saw
for
this
the
in
clue heads.
1985. We're like, finally our movie.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
There's like the wrench or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
The wrench heads.
There's a guy dressed
Yeah,
as a
the
giant
wrench.
wrench, just like losing his goddamn mind.
Five Nights at Freddy's premiere. You know?
And they do say the room names so much too, like
They
on
do.
purpose. You
Yeah.
can tell. They're like in the parlor or in the library.
Wait in the study. Wait in the da-da-da.
So that's it, huh? Some kind of clue.
Yeah, I do like how they say the who done it.
Yeah.
that is a really good like like what's the meme with Leonardo DiCaprio where he's like pointing at the TV?
Yep, it's that.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
Well, speaking of clue heads, there is a segment that I would like to do.
Oh.
And this is something that we did once before on this show, but it was inspired by you two from, once again, the mythical Lost episode.
When
Wow.
we last
Oh,
episode
yes.
on the Halloween episode.
Reading
Yes.
the worst reviews of a movie.
Oh, yes. Fun bit.
So I'm going to read you some half-star reviews of Clue.
Oh no.
Yes. Hey, I'm a clue head.
This is
You hurt your feelings, Sarah.
well,
Be
like,
ready.
I
Strong skin.
didn't pull anything where like somebody's just like, you know, like the cinematography is lacking. You know, it's like
No,
this
it's
is like
funny.
this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no punctuation in most of these.
It checks out.
By golly gee, this was the worst movie I have seen. I see why you old fellows like it, though, you dirty dogs. Don't waste any time watching this goofy movie. The maid can get it.
Real.
No punctuation.
I would
It's
say. I would say do waste your time watching this movie and, comma, the maid can get it.
I think he deserves 1 star for the maid, at least.
No, they went
Did
half
they
star.
say by golly gee?
By golly gee. There's like there's
like
kind
how-
of a bit in here. You
And
know?
Yeah,
Like,
they're doing
Yeah.
like this weird like clean Christian language, and then the last line is like, "I want to fuck the maid."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty silly.
I'm a big fan of this one. Here's a clue. It's shite.
That's good.
That's good.
That's funny.
Is it S-H-I-T-E?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh
British
yeah.
person. And the reviewer on this, I also noted the reviewer's name was Danny Brown. Which I thought was funny.
Scaring the hose.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, this is another half-star review. All these white people yelling, bruh. I turned this shit off.
Real.
Not wrong.
White people yelling might be my favorite genre of comedy. I'm not gonna lie.
That's all I think you
Arrested
should leave
Development,
is.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, Arrested Development. Yeah. Oh, It's Always Sunny.
Yup,
Yeah.
yup.
Yeah.
Some people are just haters to be haters. I have seen snippets of this movie because my ex-girlfriend and her mother were obsessed with it. But I personally think this movie and the game are stupid as fuck.
Whoa.
Coming for the game too. in that
Yeah,
line.
exactly. I was like,
Damn.
what?
Hopefully it's decent.
Why are you attacking a game from...
On Letterboxd.
Yeah. Why are you attacking a board game? What a
It's not
movie
even the right
website.
platform.
On the other hand, this next reviewer had this to say. Jokes are very bad. Acting is horrible. And it ruins the game.
They like the game less after the movie?
I like the idea that it ruined the plot of the game. Like, the game got spoiled. That's how I was
like-
reading
Three
it.
possible endings to the game. All of them are ruined.
I thought maybe they hated Tim Curry so much like couldn't play the butler anymore.
That's what I thought. Was like they had the game in their closet and they watched the movie and they hated it. So
They burned it.
They didn't
They
know the game
threw
was-
it
But it ruined the ending of the game, maybe.
I like the idea that it spoiled the
that
story.
is very funny.
That's funny.
I got one more. This one is actually a 1-star review.
Oh,
That's generous.
generous.
Again, basically no punctuation in this. Call me stupid. I don't fucking care because this movie confused me to the point I have uncurable brain damage. The fuck is this? The murder mystery part was confusing. Too many characters running around all over the place, and I just completely stopped guessing who's the killer is halfway through the movie. The jokes are not funny. The ending are dog shit. The group of characters was interesting, but ended up being annoying. This movie is such a disgrace to the game.
Wow.
All these game purists.
Exactly. I was like, this
What are they
person
holding
fucking loves
sacred?
Clue, but hates this movie.
Wow.
Like, that's
They
crazy
probably-
to me.
They have their own like Clue lore.
Yeah.
They probably
How
like
dare
Clue
you.
and
They're
like
like
don't laugh
fanfic.
at all, right?
It's always Plum. How dare you? Just like,
They're like, well, actually, Plum and White have a B plot that you didn't even know about when you wrote this movie. Like,
That's only in my head, and you should have gotten it.
you didn't get it right.
so bizarre.
That's funny.
Also, that was 1 star.
Wow.
That all that vitriol. It was
that
still
for-
got 1 star.
So, like, they
They
kind of
liked
liked it.
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they liked it a little bit.
A little bit.
The characters were interesting,
They,
Oh,
Hey.
they
said
were.
that.
Yeah.
yeah.
but ended up being
That's,
annoying.
that's a dub.
I mean, fair
I
enough.
guess.
Fair enough.
Um,
There's a lot of running in this movie. To
Yeah.
their point,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Scooby-Doo ass running.
for a movie with like 5 rooms, you know.
Yeah,
You know, they
and a
moved.
lot of women in heels.
Oh, so I
Yeah.
want to talk about my favorite running scene.
Yes, please.
When they're going like, "Let me out, let us in, let me out," and they go, he goes to like run at it, and I saw a really good bit today where someone was like 2 scenes that have the same energy, and it's Tim Curry running at it, and then it's the scene from Toy Story 2 where they're running at a door with the lizard toy,
Yeah.
and he's
I don't
like,
wanna use my
I don't
head."
want to use my
Yeah.
head,
Sick.
and I like that a lot.
I love the running scene where at the end Tim Curry's explaining the murders for whichever time, and he and Mrs. White are running up the stairs, and he just kind of leaves her behind
Yeah.
on the stairs. Like she didn't quite make it up all the way.
Oh, yeah.
That had me and Cam cracking the fuck up last night.
He's like using everybody as a prop in
Yes!
the like last 20 minutes. Of the
Very
movie.
Tim
He's beating the
Power
shit out of
Rangers.
Michael McKean.
Yeah.
Like, that whole scene.
He throws his ass in the John. Like,
Yeah, that
He's like,
ending.
like washing his hands when he walks out.
takes a little
That was-
poop.
That was a nice little bit.
The ending does get you going. That got me going. Like my blood pressure was up when he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Here's how we did it."
Oh my god, I think of maybe like once a month just the snippet of Tim Curry going like, picked up the dagger, run down the hall, and he's just fucking fully sprinting. It's engraved.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
engraved at
Rent
this
free,
point.
no rent.
No rent. No rent. It's so funny. Oh my goodness. Is the third ending like canon in y'all's heads?
Yeah.
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think so,
Explain
too.
to me again how the third ending finally goes. Because I get kind of confused because they all happen so fast. Which,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the third ending, who's the killer?
A couple people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's multiple killers, but Michael McKean was like, he was the one who like got them all there, right? Because he was trying to like arrest.
Because he was
them.
with the police, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah, so
that's
he
why.
works with the FBI.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the third ending.
In the
We don't
third
know if this
ending.
is canon in the first
Yeah.
two.
Right.
But yeah, like White killed Yvette, I think, and Scarlet killed the cop, and Mustard killed the driver. I forget who killed the cook.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Maybe Yvette killed the
specifics.
cook?
I think Yvette killed the cook.
Yeah. Yeah.
I distinctly remember that being like, oh.
Yeah. And then Wadsworth is like, but I'm blackmailing all of you.
Yeah.
For those of you at home, Sarah just flipped this off.
With
Yeah.
the tongue out, yeah.
Yeah.
It was-
Yeah. Which happens in the
I want people
movie
to have the
too,
footage.
believe it or not. But I also love how in every Cluniverse, which I just coined.
The Cluniverse.
Yep.
But there's also the Cluniverse, which is all the George Clooney movies.
Oh,
and
CLUE universe, not CLOO
Right.
universe.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's
Yeah.
also the Cluniverse, where the different clones from Star Wars do a different thing.
Oh, sure.
The Cloniverse.
Cloniverse.
Yeah. Well, you gotta say it kind of with an accent.
Does it have an umlaut? I just like how in every version he kind of cuntily delivers like, why would the police show up? No one's called them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's a really good line.
gag. Like, and so in the last version, it's the most, I guess, important that he says that because he's like, I'm actually Mr. Body, and I've actually been blackmailing you and leaving. Oh, he was my butler, and you're like, oh my god,
That
my
is a
world
good
is
twist.
rocked.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Green is like, actually, I work for the FB fucking I, and he shoots him, and Tim Curry's like, good shot. In this like last act of butlerly decorum. And then the FBI rushes in. Who will also like
Was a salesman?
was like an evangelist or something.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like has like the pamphlet like have you seen the kingdom of God or whatever.
He's
and
like
then
Armageddon is upon us.
Yeah.
But he's actually
What if canonically he
police.
is what
J.
are they
Edgar
called?
Hoover.
oh
What
yeah.
are the ladies called where they knock on your door?
Oh, like Avon or whatever. No, what's it called?
Oh, it's like it's a sect of
Like-
Christianity.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
thinking
Jehovah's
completely
Witnesses.
different.
Jehovah's Witness, yeah.
I was thinking like the women that like sell like
Like
makeup.
a multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
That is
thing.
Avon.
That's it.
Avon. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Avon for Jesus.
He's got to wash the feet with something.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That's a
Did I
little
learn from the
Christian
Super Bowl?
humor for your
Yeah, for all your Super Bowl.
Yeah.
for all
Oh
you
my
Super
goodness.
Bowl heads out there. You know, you saw
For all the
you saw
sports
the ads.
fans who listen to our
Who
podcast.
saw a lot of feet on the Super Bowl? I mean,
Oh
it's
my
called football.
God.
Uh,
It is.
Hey, hold on, I got you.
Thank you, Zach. Finally.
Make it make sense.
Can you even hear that, or is that
We can't hear it. It's just you.
you just see me lighting up, like being ecstatic to hit that button?
Dan is the only person with headphones in.
Well, let me tell you, it's really fucking hilarious.
Oh my god.
I wanted to ask another question to the group. I wanted
Yeah.
to play like Like, you know how like when you were a kid you would like watch a TV show and you'd be like, I'm this character.
I quite literally did this at a Halloween party watching Clue.
So I want to know whose character y'all align with the most if you had to pick one.
Should we do like Sun, Moon, Rising? No,
Yeah.
y'all don't care about that shit.
I would not be able to do it.
That's fair. At the party that I went to, we all kind of assigned roles to each other, and there were not to like flex, but there were like a lot of people there, so we had to get down to the nitty gritty. So someone got assigned like the rat that shows up in the basement for like 1 second. Like
I'm
that's
gonna
kind
be the
of
rat.
That's funny.
literally, and she was excited about it too. Like she had seen the movie before. So at that time, I was assigned Yvette. And I was like, okay, work. Like,
Sure.
I would say now, probably a Peacock moment. I like Miss Peacock a lot.
There you go.
She's fucking nuts.
How about you, Dan?
I just like the name Colonel Mustard.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it's a cool vibe.
I mean,
It's
the
like
war profiteering, no, but like
yeah,
the name's pretty
but
good.
like name on name recognition. You know? I think this movie appeals to my sensibility for people with nouns for last names in general. I just think is always great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
And so yeah, I like Colonel Mustard, Mean Mr. Mustard.
Mean Mr. Mustard works and
That's a song Tommy and I are working on.
Hell yeah.
that I should really know all the words to.
No, we haven't practiced in a while.
That's true. That's true.
I like Plum is cool as well, but I'm going Mustard if
Hell yeah.
I can, if I
Hell yeah.
may.
I'm going clumsy, anxious, queer, so green.
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 Yeah.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with the cook.
Oh, sure. Sharpening a knife and then dead in a freezer.
Yeah.
Gets to hit a gong.
She lays down in most of the movie. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then she gets to get a little
gets to taste all the
sexy
food
during the
first.
shaboom.
During
Do,
the
do,
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
shaboom.
She gets all rubbed up from behind the curtain.
Yeah, Miss Peacock is like behind
Okay,
her.
so that scene.
Let's talk about that, girl.
Like okay, so the cop comes.
Yes.
Right, and they're trying to hide the bodies.
There are 3 dead bodies at this point, and there's a cop, and
Yeah.
they're like,
And so they turn it into like a sex party.
yes, using these dead
There's
bodies.
nothing illegal about this.
Eyes Wide Shut.
This
type
is the
shit.
precursor to
It
Weekend
should
at
have gone
Bernie's.
full eyes wide shut for sure.
Like the fact they Weekend and Birdie's a scene and it made me laugh so hard.
Literally.
Weekend at Bernie's meets Eyes Wide Shut in that scene.
Can we make that like a
Ooh.
full length?
Paramount, your
I
move.
think you should.
Into it.
Yeah.
I love the line that the cop says after he sees it. He just goes, "That's just some people having a good time."
And Wadsworth is like on the phone with J. Edgar Hoover, I guess, the whole time. So he doesn't know that this other cast of characters has done a corpse sex party.
Which is my new band, and we're
I
playing
was
it.
just
both.
Fuck yes. Can I play tambourine?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. So Wadsworth comes back and he like thinks the cop has like seen all these dead bodies. And the cop's like, "Nah, man, like it's a free country." And Wadsworth's like, "I didn't know it was that free." And he's like, "Oh my God, are you really letting my ass off the hook with these corpses?" So good. So silly.
Yeah.
You gotta like keep a lot of like volleyballs up in the air watching this, I think.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, like, oh, wait, yeah, like, that's where Yvette is right now. Or, like, oh, yeah, that's where Wadsworth is right now. Maybe it's, like, a thing, like, if you've seen it a couple times. Because otherwise it starts to maybe feel a little bit like, wait, where is he, like, in this? I was like, oh, yeah.
I think that's what that one half-star reviewer was saying, that it's hard to keep all the balls in the air.
Object permanence is hard.
It's hard, dude.
Yeah.
Every time.
Still working on it.
Yeah.
Every time.
I'm not good at this. Like, I'm not good at this stuff, but the difference is just like that person it happened, and then they're like, "Fuck this! I'm mad. I'm not. Everything's annoying. I'm mad." May could get it though.
Real.
Yeah,
Real.
Dan, did you have any other bits in your bit list?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're on the topic of
The only
bits.
other one that I wrote down on the bit list was the scene where, like, really early on, when Mr. Body is trying to escape the house and he's just like running from room to room, just going, "I can just." he's like, "I can break the windows," and then the dog appears and he runs to the door and he's like, "I'm going," and then it's locked and he's just like, "All right, I'm going to." It's just like, I don't know, that just like I almost felt like I could watch 5 full minutes of it. You know? It's just like
Yeah,
just
it'd be
going
fun.
different places trying to
Extended director's cut.
leave. Unless anybody else has some other bits they'd like.
There's
to
a
mention.
really good line, and it's like one of the plethora of like just like the like non sequitur lines where they're looking in the room and they're like, "Is everything okay?"
Yep.
And Colonel Mustard's like, "2 bodies, okay."
Everything's fine. Yeah.
Just the delivery's really good on.
I do have another question for the team.
Yes.
So obviously this is a film based on a board game. And there have been several other films based on board games. Battleship comes to mind.
Sure.
Not quite a board game, but Dungeons and Dragons, which I have to mention
Yes.
legally on every episode.
Of course.
Great, a really great movie.
I liked the Dungeons and Dragons.
Finally,
fun.
my
It was-
people.
Yeah, I liked it. I had fun.
I just like the idea that like I'm like projecting that I'm the only person in the world that
You're
likes
like,
it.
you're like fucking Jesus Christ
like
of
a-
like dying for this.
Chris Pine, the spew.
How big of a D&D nerd are you?
I'm not a nerd about it.
Okay.
I've played a campaign, but it went a really long time. Like my brother-in-law had DM'd a campaign with a bunch of his friends and myself during COVID. We played online on that website.
D&D Beyond.
Yes,
I got roped into that as well.
Yeah, I mean it was fun.
It was
but
fun.
It was like a 3-hour thing weekly, and it took a calendar year to get through. I mean, it was just because we were all new,
Yeah.
you know, and didn't know what we were doing. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely had this conversation recently. I don't know if it was on this podcast or not. I don't think so. But I was remembering that when I was in that campaign, I designed my character to be a giant barbarian.
Nice.
I was just all aggro. Because I just
Sick.
liked that because it didn't involve thinking very much.
Yeah.
And I was unstoppable. Like I never faced challenges in the game. I was
That's a
just
great
like, there was a thing where it was like rage. If I rolled above like, you know, a certain number, I got to just roll again and just like I'd just be like destroying everything.
Yeah.
It was just like
Plus
this game's
10 to your
fucking easy,
strength
yo.
checks.
Hell yeah. Give me a challenge.
I was like, but yeah, it was fun. So I'm not like a nerd about it, but I know that, you know, I got the gist.
Yeah.
And I just thought that movie was a fun movie in general, and it didn't have like the gun shot, the rope shot,
Yes.
you know, or whatever. And like I was like, that's a nice touch to,
Yeah.
you know.
It was like normal people could watch it and laugh and have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the D&D nerds could watch it and have a great time.
Yeah.
And my favorite little Easter egg in it is in D&D, when you're in combat, it's turn-based, so everything kind of happens at the same time, but you got to go in order. And so one turn is about 6 seconds in the game, right? Have you heard that rule?
Yeah.
And so the dragon scene, when they're fighting the dragon, every shot is 6 seconds
Get
wow.
out of
of
here.
each
That's
character's
cool.
action. And I'm like, oh, that's good.
You fucking dork.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did great. I'm trying to think of any other examples of it.
Jumanji is not a real board game, but
But it
about a
became
board
one.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard the Mancala movie went crazy.
What?
I'm making that up.
I was trying to think of another way to do that exact same bit. We were on the same page. I was
Yeah.
like, did you guys see Sorry, dude? That shit went hard.
Dude.
Yeah, what would be a really silly
Connect 4 as a
Connect
movie?
4 as a
Dog.
movie. They did an emoji movie. They can do a Connect 4
They can do
movie.
anything.
you.
It doesn't have to be good. We'll see.
Yeah, we discussed this on the last episode as well. The potential for all the toy-based video
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Or video games. Toy-based films.
Mm-hmm.
I want like a super anti-capitalist monopoly like
Ooh,
where
would
really
be
dark
good.
satire, but it's Monopoly.
Yeah.
Like a
That's what I
sucker
want.
punch Monopoly.
Zack Snyder's Monopoly.
Dude, I mean, the Monopoly guy would be the
Welcome
best
to
villain,
Madison
right?
Place,
You know,
bitch.
That'd be fucking
I don't know if
sick.
that's a real.
go
choice.
straight to jail.
Do not.
Looks
press
like you're
go.
going straight to jail.
It's all in IMAX aspect ratio for some
Fuck
reason in black and
yes.
white.
In a world where $200 is a lot of money.
Guys, over here, it's the community chest. All right, audio drama right now. We're doing it. A trailer for Monopoly.
I call the thimble.
Race car, hat. We gotta go. Go ahead, Tommy.
Is there,
Add to this.
is there a
I'm
boot?
not-
There's a shoe, right?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about
There's like the Yorkie, isn't it like a dog?
There is like
Yeah.
a tiny dog.
I'm just a
shoe. I don't know if I can make it all the way to
My laces aren't even tied.
Marvin Gardens.
I can't make it to Madison Avenue.
I can't pay rent on this double house property.
If I can only pass go.
There it is.
Hold on, I'm gonna edit in the music here. So just
Right,
just-
right.
Oh yes.
This looks like a fine place for a hotel. So, Monopoly.
Yeah.
Christopher
Nolan.
Nolan. No more dead cops.
No more dead cops.
Is that Mark Wahlberg?
In The Dark Knight, the worst line in the movie.
Yeah.
So
Into it.
I don't want No More Dead Cops to be a recurring.
every episode,
I don't like it.
and then people are gonna be like, "What is?" Guys,
Haven't
it's from
seen
the
the
Dark
one-
Knight.
Yes.
Haven't you seen the Dark Knight, guys? It's the most iconic line from the movie.
The line that everyone
Um,
thinks when they think of The Dark Knight is a random background actor yelling "No More Dead Cops" for no reason.
I know exactly the scene though.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah,
It's in
fans
my
know.
consciousness.
Our fans get it. The getters got it.
Yeah.
So, Monopoly coming soon.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Scrabble would be kind of a far
Ooh.
Scrabble movie.
Was the Imitation Game the one where he invents the computer that like
And
unscrambles the codes?
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like that, but Scrabble.
And he's gay.
and he's
And he's
gay.
gay.
That's a plot point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell
Really
yeah.
sad plot point.
Yeah.
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 They give him like the medicine at the end. That was sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad Scrabble movie.
Wow.
Take my money.
Yeah. A24 Scrabble.
You just
They
put-
are salivating.
24 Scrabble.
Part of the trailer is someone like putting tiles down. It just spells depression.
I don't even know how to spell anymore.
And then they bap the tiles away.
It's like a Mitski song or something. That's
My
great.
love,
good,
my.
I love Mitski. That wasn't a
too.
dig. That wasn't a dig at Mitski. That
No,
was a dig at the
but
type of song they'd
it's
play in an A24
perfect.
trailer.
Yeah.
Divorce. D. I.
Oh yes.
Oh, this is the opening monologue. It's like that movie Ghost Story with Rooney Mara.
Yep.
And it's like the most depressing shit ever for no reason. But it's just also about somebody playing a game with titles and letters on it.
He's like playing Scrabble with the ghost of his dead wife.
Yeah.
Nobody take that as mine.
That's
Oh my
mine. That's good. That's good. Write that
God.
down.
It's like instead of a Ouija board, it's Scrabble.
Ooh.
I'm trying to think of what other games have stories like Clue does, like Game of Life, I guess. But that would just be like any movie, any
Yeah.
drama.
Right.
Right.
Is a Game of
That's
Life
just-
adaptation.
Oh, are you gonna go to school or have kids?
Come on, kids, get in the car.
Right.
And then it's like a 21 Pilots song playing.
yeah.
Guys, I can make movies. I
Now
promise.
we're stressed out. As you are in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank
Exactly.
you.
What other games have plot points?
Mousetrap. That's a
Mousetrap.
game.
I was gonna say Mousetrap earlier.
Candyland.
They did a Mousetrap movie.
Is
They did Mouse Hunt,
Ah.
which is great.
is there not a Candyland movie already? There should be if there's not.
should
I
be.
feel like
That's
there's
easy
one,
money.
like named Candy. I don't know. Actually,
Candyland also sounds like the name of like a movie about drug addiction.
that's what
though.
I was gonna say. Like there
Yeah.
might be like a no. Maybe I'm thinking of Candyman.
There is a
That's
Candyman.
different, yeah.
I'm
Not about the game Candyland.
sure
damn.
there have been many at least like animated short film about a magical candy world. But to my knowledge, there is not currently a feature-length Candyland based on the board game. We don't have like Mr. Gloop or whatever the like chocolate guy is.
A purely action movie, Shoots and Ladders.
But it's SHOOTS.
Yep. Where do you think you're going?
Get to the ladder.
Down.
It's just the cast of Expendables 3.
You got a gunshot on here, or
No.
No, we have like a heartbeat.
Yeah, we got a
we
heartbeat.
have a horn going. Wah!
Yeah, that's
got
kind
a
of.
horn here?
Yeah, it's kind of punchy.
Not quite the same as a gunshot.
No,
What guns made
use
that
your
sound?
imagination. Come on.
Come on, listeners. Frankly,
Thank you.
We're not insulting our listeners, you know.
yeah.
That's the mark of a good podcast.
If you insult him a little bit.
It's like, hey,
Yeah.
you've stayed this long.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, thanks for hanging out.
hey, thank you so much,
Thanks for
by
hanging
the
out.
way.
Yeah,
Fuck
thank
you.
We love getting those retention rates up, guys.
I
and
really
thank you
hope you
again.
like our 40 minutes of talking about board games.
Oh man.
I really want Shoots and Ladders to be a
Shoots
thing.
and Ladders is
SHOOTS.
Yeah, you get that one.
TM.
Tommy
TM,
gets
TM,
sad
TM.
Scrabble. You can.
Yes.
Well, it turns out this whole podcast was a red herring.
This podcast is also kind of like socialism.
No more dead cops. It's a blast to say, you know. I can see why Nolan wrote it in there.
He did not write
Things
that
are
line
worse
on
than
paper.
ever.
There was just an extra who was really passionate.
Oh, you think an extra ad?
I think an extra just ad-libbed and yelled, and Nolan was like, "Ah, fuck it." As his attitude usually is toward his films, I'm sure.
Oh man, Chris, come on the pod.
I'm
dude.
kidding.
Defend yourself.
Kidding.
Tenet featuring Christopher Nolan. That's the goal episode. When we get
We
that,
do
we
Tenet, and you can just the one Christopher Nolan movie you don't like, and that's the only one I
Yeah.
talk to him about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
And because then it'll switch roles. Because then you're gonna be like,
I'm the
Chris. I love.
Oh
you.
yeah,
What
Wow,
did
you
the-
killed
what,
it.
what didn't you like about Tenet?
What?
that's a whole other episode. That's a whole other episode. Because then I'm gonna
That's a
start
red
defending it.
Because I liked it. I thought it did timey-wimey stuff in a way that like didn't annoy me.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's
'Cause it-
actually the only thing I liked about
So it
it.
didn't explain it. It didn't explain it, and I said, "Awesome, I don't care."
He didn't have to go back in time and like accidentally almost have sex with his own mom. Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Christopher Floyd, yeah, was in that movie. And Christopher Lloyd had sex in this movie with someone he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Not his mom.
And that's lore, mama. That is lore.
Thanks for tuning in to Musicians.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being on the pod.
Thanks for having
you.
us.
It's been a pleasure.
Make sure you listen to and subscribe to Album Rebrews on all the available places. Do you have any more details on that for our listeners?
Yeah, we're everywhere. Name a streaming service. We're on it. I think Deezer got discontinued, but we were on Deezer. We are also on Instagram and on Twitter X. Evil Twitter at Album Rebrews. We're all over the place. The SEO is pretty solid as long as you can spell.
Yeah, if you as long as you don't spell
Yeah.
it like a bruise, like someone like bumped your leg too
Sure.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Like
different
drop a
podcast.
banana.
All right.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do a wrestling show.
Yeah,
Album Rebrews.
That's kind of
That's
sick.
good.
Fuck yeah, dude. Let's go.
Oh my god, the brand potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Thank you guys for having us on again. This is such a good and fun podcast.
Yeah, this was
And
chill as
this
hell.
great. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing Clue with us. And we're going to end on Tommy's favorite line from The Dark Knight. Off the top of your head, go.
Nowhere to go.
It's just a Simpsons character.
Well,
right.
thanks so much for having us. Now I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
There
My
you
wife.
go. There it is. All we just hear is
There it is.